Am I the hero for telling my dad to leave me out of his will because he's still in business with my abusive ex-husband? Okay, this is a complicated one and therefore long, so please bear with me. Guys, bear with me too. So my husband, let's call him Chad, was emotionally and sometimes physically abusive. We had 2 kids together and co-parenting has been a nightmare even after I remarried and had another child. He's manipulative, controlling, and just all around toxic human being. My dad owns several rental properties.
Nice.
Some were purchased while I was married to Chad, some after we divorced. These houses were always seen as investments by my dad for his family and, as he says, generational wealth. Go Dad, I like that. He always talked about leaving houses for his 3 kids in his will. Well, he currently co-owns 6 of these properties, 50-50 with Chad.
Oh shit, not good.
This makes me incredibly uncomfortable. Why not just sell it?
Yeah, boy.
When you get it, like stay in the will, get it, sell it, and get out of still child out of your life. Here's a core issue. My dad wants a relationship with me now, but he refuses to acknowledge the horrific abuse I endured at Chad's hands. Seriously, because you guys are doing business together. He refuses to cut ties with Chad despite knowing some of the details. This makes both me and my current husband incredibly nervous and uncomfortable. It feels like a complete betrayal, and honestly, it's baffling. I know, it's literally your child.
Okay, calm down. Just calm down.
That was hit by someone. Every normal dad's reaction is to punch the guy in the face. And you're like, let's cut a deal and do business together. Here's the kicker. Chad makes my dad money. Money my dad is currently living off of. Clearly, the concept of generational wealth is lost on him. Meanwhile, I have 0 financial ties to my dad. I don't give him money and I certainly don't take any from him. Chad, on the other hand, only partners with my dad because my dad has the capital to fund these real estate deals. Chad, being a contractor, handles the renovations. They then split the profits 50-50. So my dad fronts the cash, takes all the risk, and doesn't even recoup his initial investment when Chad gets richer off the deal. Like, makes sense? No, it doesn't even make sense. Like, once you put in the money, I put in the money, you buy it, and you pay. I pay for, like, dad is paying for the renovation, and then he and Chad split the money 50-50. Has it charmed him? Doesn't make sense because it's normally supposed to be after I get my money back, we split the profit 50-50, which would make sense. My dad fronts the cash, takes all the risks, and doesn't even recoup his initial investment while Chad gets richer off of the deal. And to add insult to injury, Chad doesn't pay a dime in child support from this income because it is all conventionally in my dad's name, so it didn't count as Chad's income during our divorce. It's truly messed up. It's a truly messed up situation, and I agree with you. That is more than messed up. To make matters worse, oh God, it gets worse. During my very difficult and abusive divorce, my dad, knowing some of the things Chad did, actually told me he was praying for me and Chad to reconcile. More like the money to reconcile. I don't even know, like, what money? Given that he could do that with anyone and any other human who would be happy to do business with him, where you're putting all of the cash, I just have to put my time and be the contractor and make sure this happens, and I get 50% of even the profits. So many people will be happy with that. This is the kind of man my dad is. More concerned with appearances and what certain circles of his Christian community think than the actual reality of the situation and the well-being of his own daughter. Next. He wants to keep up appearances, which is absolutely disgusting. And it gets worse. Okay, I'm done. It doesn't stop there. It's not just a business relationship. My dad and Chad actually socialize. Okay, they hang out, church, lunches. Wait, dude was beating his wife and going to church? Lunches, dinners, birthday parties, the whole 9 years. My dad's excuse, they never talk about me, which frankly I find incredibly hard to believe. Even if they aren't actually gossiping about me, the very fact that my dad chooses to spend time with my abuser, to share meals and celebrate milestones with him, speaks volumes, which absolutely makes sense. It sends a clear message that his comfort and his financial interests are more important than my well-being and my peace of mind. It feels like he's choosing chat. It doesn't feel like he has choose chat over you. I've tried to have conversations with him about this. Wait, I want to know what mom is saying, or is she not in the picture anymore? I've tried to explain how his continued relationship with Chad and his refusal to acknowledge their abuse is hurting me. I've explained how it makes me feel unsafe and unsupported, but he just brushes it off, saying things like, you need to forgive and forget. Forgive, yes, forget, not so much. Or I don't want to get involved. So here's where I might be the a-hole. I've set a boundary. I've told my dad that I cannot have a relationship with him until he severs all business ties with Chad and ensures that Chad no longer has any financial interest in any of the properties, acknowledges the abuse and I suffered and stops minimizing it or trying to force me to reconcile with the abuse even after the fact.
Okay.
I told him that until these things are addressed, I want nothing to do with his will. I don't want any potential inheritance to be used as a tool for Chad to try to contact me or manipulate me in the future.
Makes sense.
Am I being unreasonable? No. Makes absolute sense. Am I the a-hole for setting these boundaries? I feel like I have no other choice. I need to protect myself, my husband, and my children from Chad's influence. But I also feel incredibly sad and conflicted. I love my dad, but I can't tolerate these any longer. I feel like the daughter-in-law that divorced his son. Sure, that's true. Literally, he's like, yeah. He actually has taken the son to the husband's side, and it's like, Chad is my son and you're hurting him. Help me, Reddit. Am I the bad guy for protecting myself?
I don't know. I just got here.
No. So there are some relevant comments, but we're just gonna skip down to what the update was. So there's an update 3.5 weeks later. So in the last few weeks, my mom's oldest sister passed away. She has been sick for a while, so this wasn't shocking news, but still sad. I called my mom to be polite and offered my condolence. Okay, she probably said why she's not talking with her mom in some of the comments, but we didn't read that.
Whose fault is it really?
I wasn't close with this particular aunt. I also made it clear I wouldn't bring up any of our drama and would only talk about it if she did. Well, as per usual, she used her sister's death to shame me, saying that in 10 years this could be me and I don't want our family to not be speaking to each other like this or something along those lines.
Emotional, damn it!
So I restated my boundary. Once they get out of business and stop communicating so friendly with my ex and show me some loyalty, then that won't be a problem and we can work on our issues. So I'm a bit confused. Does that mean her mom was supporting her dad while he did all this? In my eyes, absolute betrayal. Doesn't make much sense. She said she won't turn her back on her grandkids because he's the only way she sees them. He's the only way she sees them, which means that mom only goes to see the grandkids when they're with Chad because OP doesn't want to have anything to do with mom anymore. I reminded her that that's only been a recent development and that she never set boundaries with him ever. In the same phone call, she told me she went to his house around Christmas time. He also shows up to my niece's birthday parties. Oh, I think they've picked a side. Then she told me she's angry that I dated my new husband and even got pregnant with my youngest without going to her for help because I was 34. My husband is incredibly supportive and loving and the most amazing man I've ever known. She's literally mad that I'm able to take responsibility for my own choices and don't need to turn to her for every little issue. I honestly still don't understand that one.
Yeah, us neither.
My dad has done absolutely nothing about his business with my ex. He's living off of the money he's making with my ex, even though he calls it generational wealth. Well, I don't like the fact that Obi keeps saying like he's living off of it. It's his money, so he can do whatever he wants to. I don't think the phrase means what he thinks it means. It's his money. He can do whatever he wants to while he's alive. But yeah, he should stop saying it's generational wealth. My sister decided to send me endless texts that ended with her openly admitting she has nothing to be responsible for. She is a crying shoulder for my ex-husband and asked me if I felt sorry for him at Thanksgiving 2 years ago. Okay, so her entire family. Okay, that's really sad. If she actually had a sister, it would have been nice, but like the entire family is on Chad's side. She also told me that my healing and growth is selfish because I'm not including her in it. I seriously wish I was making this up. It really does sound like Chad. It sounds like she's talking about Chad's family, low key, like high key. It literally sounds like that. The only successful conversation I had was with my younger brother, but even he isn't sure about my new husband. Well, they don't have to like him, but like you're still not part of that. Ex. Basically, he told me not to date anyone, and I dated my now husband, and it worked out. And why would he say not to date anyone? It's because she was yours. And it worked out, and he's mad about it. Again, I was 34 and he was 28. I don't know if they don't like that I don't take their advice, or if they don't like that it worked out for me despite me not taking their advice. Yeah, I kind of think it's the second one. They probably don't like that it worked out after you did not, like, you went and did your own thing and it worked out. They don't like that. That seems like what's going on here. I wish I had a better explanation for this, but I just don't. I'm not sure where this will go, but I'm holding to my boundaries and moving forward with some pretty big goals my new husband and I have for our non-profit. Well, that's cool. Thanks for the support, and this is the I know this update is fake, yeah, it is. But if I typed out the whole story, it would be a dissertation. It is so unbearably complicated and honestly confusing because of the delulu thinking of my toxic family. Yeah, I think she stopped having a family, but there's update number 2. So let's see what happened there. OMG, one more update that I discovered in therapy. I know you all would love this. While I was going through my divorce, my brother and his wife were renting a house from my dad, which he probably owns with Chad. I was at their house one day. We used to be very close, and I noticed the house next door was getting ready for an estate sale. Since I knew my dad likes buying houses in the neighborhood, I went to check it out. My dad has done rentals my entire life, so I'm pretty good at filling out the bonds of a house. Well, I told him and my mom about it and suggested he get it. Let me and my kids live there while I help him fix it up. It really just needed some painting and some minor kitchen moderation. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, and the same layout as my brother's house. With this plan, I could get out of his house because at that time I was living with them and it was tense for everyone. My mom seemed on board with the idea, but my dad rolled his eyes and said, "I'm not buying a charity." Oh wow. Obviously, I broke down crying. He apologized and said some excuses, but I don't remember because it was complete BS. He wanted to do business with Chad.
Yes, exactly.
Well, I have recently realized while verbally processing in therapy that my idea is the exact same concept my ex presented to him. My dad fronts the money, my ex does the work. Well, makes sense. She wanted to do the work and they split the profit 50-50. I wasn't even presenting to split the profit. She literally just wanted to live there for free for a while. And it's just a bit sad that this is her family and this is the reality of how they treat her and literally pick someone else over her.
Absolutely.
I feel like my dad really missed a huge opportunity to help me start my own real estate hustle and teach me what he's doing. He could have helped me get back on my feet and set my kids up for life. Once this realization hit me, it was like I saw my dad in a completely different light. Like probably you guys and I are seeing now. I don't even think he realizes how full of hot air he is. It seems like he wanted me subservient subservient. It seems like he wanted me subservient and not to have independence. I kind of think that's one of the things. He wanted like her under him forever. Now, I think he thought if my life was as hard as possible, I would go back to my ex and shame would have been lifted from my family. But I would have walked to hell and back before I did that. Damn! Anyway, this is a pretty good picture of the generational wealth my dad likes to talk about. He brags about getting into businesses with my ex to help his grandkids, but when presented with a way to actually help his own daughter who birthed the grandkids, he looks at it as charity. Yeah, I think that was the last update she gave, but from this point, from my point of view, I feel like the entire family just wanted her to be under them forever, and this is what they want. They feel ashamed that their daughter got a divorce, even though she was literally protecting herself, getting out of that relationship, and they wanted her back in there no matter what. But she went on her own, succeeded, and they do not like that. Anyway, what do you guys think? Should she cut them off? That's where I'm going to. Like, she has cut them off. Like, she should keep those boundaries. Like, no need to talk to them. Just be on her own. Not angry, not mad, just not in their circle. What do you guys think? I'd like to know in the comments. See you guys in the next video. Bye.